Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Stefan Gens. I'm the Senior Worldwide Evangelist from Adobe. And with me in the room today is Vortimna, my colleague from the Solution Consultant team. And Vortimna, maybe you can still mute yourself because there's some echo. And we will talk about collaborative authoring, one of the big buzzwords today. But behind that buzzwords, there's actually technology that we have built into our tools, and you can use it to work with your colleagues. And Vortimna will guide us through that. Vortimna, what do we have on the agenda today? Maybe you can give us a quick overview.
Absolutely, Stefan. I am glad to do that. So here is what we have as a part of our agenda. Very simple, very straightforward. So what we will do is we will first start talking about what true collaborative authoring is. Really, I mean, it's more of a buzzword, right? Because we talk about collaboration. We know that we've been talking about collaborating and really working together with different stakeholders since the beginning of time. And yet here we are today once more, really looking at it from the perspective of what we can do from collaborating between authors as well as between various stakeholders and have that seamlessly. So we will talk about that. We will also see the reasons why it is important. And then we will finally have a look at how we can achieve that in RoboHelp. So that will include a demo as well. And then, of course, in the end, I'm going to leave a little time for Q&A and to really interact with all of you. So I'm glad, and this is what we have as a part of our agenda today.
Wonderful, Vortimna. Thank you so much for that. Quick note to the attendees, there's a Q&A pod, and you can put in your questions there so that we have them all together. And then we will go through these questions at the end.
Great. Shall we move on then, Stefan?
Absolutely.
Awesome stuff. All right, then. This is what I'm excited about. So what does true collaborative authoring actually mean? When I think about this, I was actually sitting down, and then it's raining a bit heavily here where I am today. But there was the moon, and then I thought, we see that face of the moon all the time. And then there definitely is also that other side of the moon, right? The dark side of the moon. Regardless, it's just one and same thing. It literally have to work together. This one piece, solid piece right there, it's the moon for us. So when I think of it from a Tech Comm perspective as well, it does bring to mind that there is the near side of the moon where we have authors and content creators working together. You see each other, or you at least talk to one another on a daily basis, and you know the industry that you're working in. So there are people like me, for example. I sit here in India and I work out of my home office, and then there are people like Stefan. Not exactly an author here, but today he is going to act as an author. So there is Stefan Gens sitting in Germany. And then we also have another one of our favorite guys, Kat, sitting in America. So we all sit wherever we're supposed to be sitting. We're all authors working on our individual files or rather projects. So each one of us, we work for Adobe, but we will have files and projects to work on. Now, as you can see here, there are some projects where it might overlap. Now, there are some that I might work on independently, and then there are always going to be others where we need to collaboratively come together and work together. So the three of us, we're smart. So what we like to do is, instead of us working in silos and really sending tons of emails, or chat messages to collaborate and work together, or instead of sending files one by one to each other, what we do is, the three of us, we all sit where we are, but we have a common repository right there. So what we do is we store all of our files, and in our world, we know that this is called a CMS. If we were to take this even further, there are advanced options with a lot more elaborate features that we call commonly the Component Content Management System, even a CCMS as well. So, but the three of us, we're smart. So what we do is, instead of us working on our individual laptops and our individual files, we store it in a common place, and then we work out of the same set of files. So that very efficiently, very neatly solves the problem for us, for the three of us to work together collaboratively. And this is one piece, or this is essentially what I call the near side of the moon. But then there is a component that we don't see often, and that is what I like to call the dark side of the moon. So even in the dark side of the moon, we do have stakeholders in there. People like Dave, or people like Surbi, our head for QA, So we have people like them, or there also might be people like Lisa, who is responsible for editing. So there is going to be the editorial team that actually is responsible for ensuring that your content is great, crisp, as best as it could be. So then we also have additional stakeholders coming to the picture here. So what do we do? What do we do to these people? Dave, he leads development, so he is very busy ensuring that he's building the product, and his team members and all of his colleagues work very hard to make sure that the product that we are documenting is actually ready and available for shipment whenever it has to be. So in addition to all the work that they all have to do, they also have to review our documents, right? So the whole document review piece begins, and we start sending them files, or sometimes a lot of files to each one of them, really depending on the project and their level, the kind of expertise that they have. But we do send it to our developers or our other stakeholders that are responsible for ensuring that the content that we create and the content that we develop are as good and are as accurate as it should be. So these stakeholders also come into the big picture of really completing that seamless cycle in terms of really having that collaboration as well as review included, because at the end of the day, we are still required to collaborate with the stakeholders. They might not sit where we are, or we might not even work with them on a day-to-day basis, but they are very, very critical and crucial to ensure that our documents are a success. So when we have a picture such as this, a lot of times what we tend to have is we have our authors sitting in silos, or we have a review of functionality or mechanism that is just not conducive to have all of this in one place. So if we were to have a true collaborative review, environment right there, true collaboration really for all stakeholders, it's going to go like this, because at the end of the day, it's just one moon that we are really looking at here, right? One solid piece. So we're going to have the authors regardless of where they're sitting, and then my authors should be able to work together seamlessly, have version control in place, have the ability to ensure that whatever changes and edits I make are going to this one location. We're not duplicating our efforts, and everybody's happy. At the same time, we also want to have the ability to actually have our content placed somewhere on a very nice review portal, perhaps, so that my other stakeholders, which is my reviewers, my developers, really, they should also be able to come on board on this nice little platform right here, where we can all see the same files together, where we can all review it together and really work on this set of files together. So a lot of times we tend to have a very big, silo right here. A lot of times this is a missing piece altogether, or even if we do have it, it tends to do a very shoddy job. So if we were to have this nice seamless experience right here, this is when I would call this a true collaborative environment that we have right here. There has to be cohesity between all of these individual pieces right here so that it's going to work as one big element and one big item, one big flow, regardless of whether you go from left to right, from right to left. It should all work together seamlessly. And this is what I mean by true collaborative authoring right here. So now, why is this important then? We can say, yeah, I'm an author. I like to work. I like how I'm working right now. I like my independence. You might say that. Or you might just say, I'm just one person in my organization right now, and perhaps I don't necessarily need what you're showing me right here. But it is actually important, because based on a recent study conducted by Forrester Consulting for Adobe earlier this year in June 2021, 56%, this is a huge number, 56% mentioned that review and collaboration is a challenge during content creation for both creators and contributors. So it's not just creators that are facing challenges with this. A lot of times our reviewers, our stakeholders, actually have trouble reviewing all of the files that we send across their way because there's just no way to handle and manage that in an efficient way. So this is essentially why it is important. But then for us to press this importance a bit further, we need to also know what happens if we do not have a seamless review and collaboration experience for everybody. And this is something that I have actually covered in one of our earlier sessions, last year, I think. But this still stands today, so I'm going to just point this out one more time. And it goes like this. The thing is, if you do not have the seamless review and collaboration environment, what you're going to get is version madness as the author. Because at the end of the day, you are going to have, let's say, several versions sitting in your working copy. And then once you have your working copy in place, chances are your reviewers will also have a couple of different versions sitting there. And a lot of times we are all guilty of saving version 1, version 2, final version, final version, etc. Right? So there is going to be version madness if until and unless we curtail this and ensure that our content creation process is top-notch. At the same time, our collaboration is in place as well. At the same time, if we don't really care too much about reviewing collaboration, what happens? A lot of times there are no or poorly defined process. Everybody just does what they want, and each man for himself, right? And in order to build the capacity that we're really driving for here, or driving at here, in order to ensure that our content and our branding is intact as it should be, we're not doing anybody any favors without having proper defined processes. And this directly leads to a lengthy review cycle, actually. So we're always following up with our reviewers saying, hey, please review this, Mr. ABC, or next time it would be, oh, okay, you know what? We sent this one file for review to Mr. ABC, and then after Mr. ABC reviews it, I will need to send that updated file to Mr. XYZ. So then I have like this, because I need to incorporate all those review comments in silos, it just becomes really, really lengthy. Which is again, I mean, if that comes to words, a lot of times it does actually impact when our production cycle, products actually go out to our customers as well. GM gets affected sometimes, and then we definitely actually have to blame poor lengthy review cycle for that. And then there is the classic conflicting feedback. A lot of times what happens is that you, in good faith, send a document out for review to reviewer ABC, and then they review it, they're doing a good job, and then they provide feedback to you. Now, 2 days later, let's say you send both documents to both reviewers on the same day, but reviewer A reviewed it on day 1, and reviewers, let's say, B reviewed it on day 3. So what happens is whatever feedback you have actually gotten on day 1 from reviewer A is something that you have incorporated in your files already, and then you realize that after the 3rd day, when the new review comments float in from somebody else, they don't actually match up, right? You're like, oh my God, no, this is different. Somebody's telling you to do something, and then somebody else is saying, hey, we should keep this the way it is, etc. So there is and there are going to be conflicting feedback. And for you, the author, what do? You're hitting the crossfire. So then you have to start sending them emails, bringing everybody in together, and really just trying to ensure that the conflicting feedback is resolved, which is a lot of work that you have to do additionally, which again contributes to a lengthy review cycle, which is definitely not what we want. And then there also is the concern of security. A lot of us do not pay too much attention to this one because we feel that whatever documentation we're doing on our system actually is safe. And to a very big degree it is, because it is the security system that you have in place in your laptops or devices, etc., will come into play, especially when using a desktop authoring tool. But what happens to your documents and files when you send it out via email or via something like Dropbox to a reviewer. Once it leaves our desk, there really is no way of knowing what happens to those files. If somebody's taking a printout of it so that they can review it at home, which does happen as well, we really have no control over how it impacts your security, right? So really, this is another big red flag that does not come up often enough, but it's actually very critical. And then finally, there also is this whole point of even having the subject matter experts to review it. Like I mentioned earlier, they do have their own primary job to do. Reviewing is not their primary concern. So if the process is not simple, if it's very painful, then chances are they will not even want to review at all to begin with. So it's extremely hard to get them to review, which again is critical because we need them to review, but they're not reviewing it, more like catch-22, right? So if we do not have all of this, everything gets impacted. And this is the reason why having that seamless review and collaboration is extremely crucial to ensure that our documents go out on time. At the same time, they are accurate and really serving what it should be to our end users. So how can we achieve true collaboration in RoboHelp then? RoboHelp is merely an authoring tool, desktop-based authoring tool, right? So in RoboHelp, what we have done is we have incorporated a couple of mechanisms in there to really ensure that you are able to achieve true collaboration. One is from the author side. You have SharePoint, you have Git, and you have Azure DevOps to really have that nice collaborative environment set up. And at the same time, on the reviewer side, what you also have is the ability to send your documents out for review online, have them hosted on Adobe Cloud, and once it's there, your reviewers, regardless of how many reviewers you have, will be able to come out there and be able to start posting review comments on the same platform. At the same time, RoboHelp does not have license requirements for reviewers. So it means that if you need a document to go out for review to, let's say, 10 reviewers or 100 reviewers, we don't really care about that because you should be able to invite them to your review in hordes, if you like. You also get automated emails. If somebody posts review comments online for you, you will be able to see them, or you are notified of them when the review comments come in. So that's great. At the same time, once you are in RoboHelp, you don't even have to go out to the portal to check whether somebody's reviewing or not, because you will see all of that right within RoboHelp. So there is this nice 360-degree review happening right there, which ensures that you are in control of when your documents go out for review. At the same time, when it does come back, you are also able to see it right within the RoboHelp portal without you having to do anything. So this completes the picture of what really happens when we achieve true collaboration in RoboHelp. And today, we are actually going to have a look at some examples. We will not be able to look at all these examples, but we will have a look at SharePoint and Git and really this online review right here to ensure that whatever we want to set up, whether it be in terms of collaboration within authors, as well as collaboration with our reviewers, that should all be done or be doable very easily and very seamlessly. So with that, let's go into demo mode. I'm going to switch over and open up this RoboHelp file. Stefan, can you please confirm if you can see the screen switch?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So for those of you who, I believe we are all familiar with RoboHelp, but if we're not, nothing really crazy going on right here. This is our landing page. So for now, what we're going to do is we are going to create a brand new project, and let's just call this my webinar project. And then I'm going to save this on my, wherever I need to save it. So I'll just save this and I hit create right here. So, okay, wait, let me do this. Let's put this on my desktop. Apparently I already have it available right there. So let's just place it right here. And I'm going to come in here and create this. just create this folder right here, and I'm going to select this folder and we will save this. So I hit create right here. So I have my webinar folder in here, and as you can see, this is us coming into RoboHelp. Now, when we come into RoboHelp, we are expected to do 3 things, right? 1, create content. So there is this authoring space right here, all nice stuff for us to be able to create content, work on my topics, etc. And then there is the review option right here where we will eventually be able to send our documents up for review. And then there is this output tab right here where we will be able to generate our output for our end users. So 3 very simple steps or activities that you will have to do inside RoboHelp to ensure that your content creation, review, and output generation process is seamless. Now, if you have a keen eye, up top, we also have this option called the collaborate option. So if I'm working by myself individually, I don't necessarily have to set this up. Although as a best practice, it's always best to ensure that you are saving your files somewhere, in a remote repository or in a content management system, so that you have, your latest files, as well as you are really protected from, if your system crashes, for example, your hard drive dies, you're not really concerned because you have all of your latest files sitting in a remote repository somewhere, right? So all that you really have to do is just a couple things. 1. This is the collaborate option right here. So if you click on collaborate, you will see this new connection option. So for the very first time, if you're coming in for the very, very first time, what you will do is you will give this a profile name right here. So if you want to connect to SharePoint, you will add SharePoint, or it can be, based on your project name as well. Doesn't really matter. For example, I have one that says SharePoint, another that says Git right here, and they're all disabled because I have already created them. And this one essentially is just for me to create a brand new one. So give it a name that you want, and you decide what kind of version control you want to use. So for example, if I want to use SharePoint, I would just select SharePoint Online. And then we will be able to connect to this location right here, wherever we've decided it will be. For example, I just have to provide my site URL right here and log into my SharePoint account, and that will, build this connection for me. I would do the same thing with Git as well. Provide the Git URL right here. Provide my user ID, and provide this additional details. If you're working with Git, or if you want to work with Git and don't really know what your SSH private key is, just ask one of your developers. They should be able to guide you on how to get it. And then provide the local path right here. Now, this local path right here is important because this is where your files are eventually going to be saved in the local system. But we'll talk more about that. All that we're really doing right here is coming in here to add these new profiles. Now, I'm going to cancel out of here because I've already done that. So if I actually expand this and I come out here to open, come down here to connection profiles, you'll see that I have these 3 already added. So for my SharePoint, you'll notice that I just called this SharePoint free text option. The version control is SharePoint Online that we've just seen earlier. And then this is the SharePoint URL right here. So let me just copy this and come out here and paste this right here. So it's this one actually. I have this open, so I don't even have to open that. But over here, you'll notice that this is the SharePoint site. And over here, I can actually come out here and see what files I already have stored and what I already have available right here. So now if I want, I can very easily just, save, upload a new project in here. For example, maybe I want to come out here and create a new folder and just call this one my new RoboHelp project, right? So let's just call this our webinar project. And then I hit create right here. I can actually save my webinar project file right here as well if I want. So this is SharePoint, and I can add this right here. Or even if I do not have this, if I have this folder structure right here, all of that will come right from within RoboHelp, and I will be able to save this right here as well. So all that I really need is the SharePoint URL that's working. And then I've logged in with my user ID and password, and then that's what I've been working with. So if I'm in here, this is my connection profile. If I want to connect to this location right there are actually a couple of things that I need to do. 1, do I already have my project in SharePoint that I want to, save for the very first time? Do I want to save for the very first time, or is the project already available in SharePoint? That's a question that I have to ask. Now, for a lot of people, their SharePoint projects are not going to be on SharePoint yet. So what you can do is, for the very first time, you can come up here to collaborate and come out here and say, I want to add a brand new project, or our webinar project that we have right here, to my SharePoint location available right there. So the moment I do that, my SharePoint location, we just created this, so that's popping up right here. But whatever folder structure that I have within my SharePoint is going to pop up right here. I can just select whichever folder structure that I need this to go down into. So in your case, this might be different versions that you're working on, etc. But you just select whatever folder it is, hit on select right here, and this one is going to save all the files that you have right here, upload this up. So for the very first time, what's going to happen is we are going to be adding all of these files into SharePoint. So this includes our our project that we have right here, as well as topics, all the style sheets that needs to go as a part of our project. All of this will be added to SharePoint. Let's just call this my first draft. And I just hit check-in right here. So essentially what we're doing is we're saying, I have this file sitting on my computer right now, but I want these files to go sit on SharePoint so that somebody else can also work on the same files as me. So that's the premise, or the that we are setting up right here so that it can be available for everybody. So I'm going to give this a couple of minutes to to load, for all of this to go back into SharePoint so that we can see that. And here it is, just done, because we only have one topic for now. But if we were to actually come back out to SharePoint, and if I were to open up this project right here, you'll see that a folder structure has been created, and all the files that I want, that I need right here is available for me to work with. So this is great. It will even tell you who modified it, when it was modified, by whom, etc. We'll talk more about all of those details. But really, if I come back out to SharePoint, now if you have Kenai and I expand Collaborate in here, you'll notice that I have a couple more options now. One is check-in, the other one is get latest version, and the final one is refresh status. So it means that if I'm working on these files, if I need to make changes to these files, what I can do is I can just expand this file right here, and then I can just perform a checkout and begin making the changes that I need to make so that nobody else can edit the files if I'm working on these files right now. So I can very easily do that. I can just open this file up, make some changes to this. Here we go. I can even bring in an image from my desktop right there. So I can very easily do that. We can do all of this nice content building process right there. Okay, we have some happy reviewers right here. So let me bring them in. Okay, I insert this. So we can continue editing and working on our files just the way we normally would. And this is us working together and ensuring that whatever files I'm working on right now is great and for me, good enough for me to work with. So let's hit save right here. What I can do is, once I've saved this is me saving this on my local system or on my local machine, right? If I want somebody else, my colleagues Stefan and Chad, to also see the changes that I've made right here, what I'm going to do is, once I'm done working on my changes, I'm going to come back out to Collaborate one more time and then check in the changes that I've made right here. So when I do that, you'll notice that I have made some edits to the first topic right here. We have added a new image. So I see this action, the status, edit, add. If I had deleted something from here, it would actually show a delete action, etc. All of that will happen. Let's just call this change. I can just say added an image, and then I can check in right here. So when I do this, all of these changes will go back into SharePoint, which means SharePoint controls the latest version of my files. I can still work outside of SharePoint independently. And then whatever latest and greatest changes I've made, if I want my colleagues to be able to see them, that's when they will just perform and make those changes right there. So if I were to go back into SharePoint one more time and actually open this this contents folder up right here, you'll notice that my first topic, this is my first topic that we worked on, right? So the last modified day is actually a few seconds ago. And then if I were to expand this and come check the version history, you will actually be able to see that, all the comments that I've made inside RoboHelp is also actually coming out here. And if I need to, revert back to an earlier version, etc., I have all of this available right here for me to work with. So this is great. And this is me, pulling and making those changes in from SharePoint and in SharePoint. Now, on the other hand, if I'm somebody, let's say, who has not, right now I'm me acting a Word Team Lab working on these files. Now, if I'm Stefan, and I actually need to work on my files in my computer as well. Let me just open up another instance of RoboHelp. So now for Stefan, what he will do is instead of checking in, instead of adding the files right here, what Stefan will do instead is actually grab the files from SharePoint and download it in his system. So that's, in that way, we have all of this, coming together. So let's say, for example, I want to create a new project because I'm Stefan. Let's just call it Stefan's project for now. And let me save this on my desktop again. Hit create right here. So what Stefan will do is, Stefan will obviously start out in this manner. So Stefan will also need to set up their collaboration the first time. But once the collaboration has been set up, because everybody, all the authors will need to set this up, right? So once the collaboration has been set up, what Stefan can do is, Stefan can just come up here to collaborate and say, oh, you know what, we want to open a connection right here. So Stefan will just say, we want to open up the SharePoint connection that we already have available, and then just open this up. So what will happen is, our projects that are already available on SharePoint is going to start displaying right here. This is the one that we have just added. So I can just open this one, and then inside this, we will see this nice RoboHelp project already showing up. So what Stefan will do is, he will just download this in his local folder. Before I do that, let me actually just close out of here and show this so that it doesn't go to the same location right here. Let me just save this for Stefan. Okay. From SharePoint. Okay, let me just select this folder so that we can see where it's going. And then I can hit save right here. So that's where it is going to go save on Stefan's desktop right there. So now what Stefan will do is just come up here, open connection up one more time, and just navigate to the folder or the project where he wants to work together on the same project as. So once we have this, he's just going to come out here, grab the file, the RoboHelp project, and just select this so that we have this available right here. Okay, let's select this folder. We have just created this. Click on open. And the files, now the files are coming from SharePoint. So this is, earlier we were adding the files to SharePoint because nobody has added them yet. Now this time, this is more of a reverse, right? Stefan is downloading the files. Stefan is going to be able to work on the files once he finishes downloading and it goes sit wherever it needs to be sitting. So that's successful. I can go check the folder. This was the one where we've downloaded from. So this is the one. If we were to open this up right now, essentially Stefan will also be able to work on this file and be able to make whatever changes he needs to make. And at the end of the day, we are all working from the same file. I hope this has been clear so far. Are we seeing any hot questions in the chat box, Stefan?
I've already taken care of that.
Okay, great. Great. Okay, so here we are. Now I'm Stefan. And again, the changes are in here. So what I'm going to do as Stefan is, if I open this file up, you'll notice that actually the changes that I made initially when I check into SharePoint is actually showing up on Stefan's side right here. So that's great. It's absolutely amazing. And if Stefan wants to come out here and add, add a new file or build a new topic, he can absolutely do that. And all of those changes will absolutely flow back into SharePoint. So in this manner, everybody's collaboratively working together. And really, if I want to get the latest version from SharePoint at any given point in time, and this is a general best practice, by the way, before you begin your day, just get the latest version so that all the changes that Stefan, Wartimla, and Chad has made will actually be reflecting on our local copy right here, so that we have all the latest version. And once our latest versions are in place, we will perform a checkout and then start making the changes. So for example, let me show you how the checkout works. If I perform a checkout right now, I have this little check mark showing me that I have checked this file out, right? Even on SharePoint, it will tell me that this file has been checked out by whoever it is. So that's great. Okay, do you see this little red mark right here? It's telling us that somebody has checked this file out. Now I'm impersonating Stefan, but really it's just my single RoboHelp we're working on, right? So it will tell you who has checked this file out, and then you will not be able to make edits or changes because somebody else has checked this file out, which is great, right? You're not overwriting or you're really working on the same files at the same time. So this is good. And then if we were to, since this is a new topic, we have not added or, this file is not a part of my SharePoint yet. So what's going to happen is you will see this little add symbol showing up right here, the plus sign. So that will also pop up and you can actually work with that as well. So this is great. And I have my new topic as well that I can absolutely work with and check this file back into Git. So again, this is awesome. And then let's say, for example, let's save this. Like maybe this time what we will do is let's just add a couple of images again so that we can see all of them sitting in assets, in the assets folder inside SharePoint as well. Let's just bring in these nice stick figures and moons. Okay, with very, very unhappy stick figure showing up right here. So as you can see, this is coming from our system, our desktop right now. But once I'm done working on this, what will happen is, let's just say I delete this first file actually so that you can see the changes. So I'm going to come out here and save the changes. By the way, I'm just hitting Control S or just save all right here to save it on my local file. Once I'm done working on these files, once I'm sure that I want this to go to our repository, what I will do is I will come back out here to collaborate and check this in. So the check-in will ask me to add a comment again, which is great, right? So we are adding a new figure, the image, and then a new topic, which actually is Stefan's working on. And then we have our first topic showing up right here where we made some changes. So we have this edit option right here. Now, if we had existing topics that we are deleting, we will see the delete showing up right here, like I mentioned earlier. But then we must add our comments. So let's just add some comments in here. And I check this in, which means now it's all going back out to the server. So now on our server, if we had multiple people working on these files at the same time, once we perform a check-in or a commit, then what's going to happen is this lock is going to be removed automatically. And then the new files are going to start showing up. Under my assets, you'll notice that my images also have like some new images showing up right here. So this is how you work and collaborate with authors inside RoboHelp from using SharePoint as a collaboration mechanism. Now, in a very, very similar vein, if I want to use Git, we did see Git earlier. If I want to use Git, I can absolutely do that. So now in Git, I have these options, new connection, open connection, connection profile. So all of these options are what's valid for SharePoint. If I actually were to work with Git, my options are actually going to be slightly different. Let's actually see how that's done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just come out here and create a new Git project. So if you come out here to Git, For those of you who are not familiar or new to Git, a lot of, all of how to work with Git is definitely going to be available in a lot of open source materials, so you can absolutely come out there and check them out. But again, Git is a very nice repository that you have in here, right? So with Git, for example, I have 4 repositories are available right here. In SharePoint, this would be the equivalent of having, let's say, folder structures, right? So over here, I have a RoboHelp project that I have worked on for a very long time, I think for over like 2 years now. So I can absolutely come out here and have a look at my repositories right here and my project. And as you can see, I have all of this available right here. So if I want to have this available and download it in my system, I would do the same exact thing that I did with my SharePoint project. So I would just come back out here to RoboHelp and say, hey, you know what? I want to actually just come out here and get this from Git. Now what I can do is, before I do that, I can actually perform this remove connection option right here. So when I do this remove connection option, when I select this, and you will see this option only when you have actually connected a project to a repository. So if I want to disconnect this from my repository, I can just come out here and say remove connection right here. And then we can just delete any source control information from whatever I have saved in my local system as well. I can absolutely do that. And the moment I confirm this, my project will no longer be connected to SharePoint, and it will show this up, with lesser menu options like check in, get the latest version, refresh status, etc. Those will no longer be available once I remove this connection right here. Now I'm going to let this one, be disconnected, as we can see right here. But this time, what I want to connect out to though is to Git. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to Git, and then what Git is doing is actually cloning whatever repository that I have right here. It's in SharePoint we saw the word downloading happen, download showing earlier, right? But this time, instead of downloading, it's just using a different term, cloning. Again, same concept, but it's just cloning whatever we have on the repository right there, so that we can have this showing up right there within our system. That I have sitting within my computer. So that's great. I can do the exact same thing that I did with SharePoint, and have the ability to have a replica of my project sitting in Git, have all of my stakeholders sitting, pull their information from Git, and we can see where that's going. So if I want to see where it has been saved in my local file, I can very easily just come out here. Oh, okay, I think we accidentally saved this to SharePoint. So never mind, we can just come out here to my local folder in here and come up here to SharePoint. This came from Git, didn't it? Okay, looks like it's not saved yet. Okay, that's fine. In the meantime, what I will do is I will just come up here to collaborate and do that one more time. Okay, this time let's actually add this to Git. This is empty. Oh, I had this saved already. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come out here and create a new file and just call this Git, like folder, and save this file so that we can see all of those downloads, coming out here to this local path right there. So that will happen. Let's save this file. Okay, I'll dismiss this, and then we will dismiss this one more time so that we can, perform the connection once more, so that we can see that showing up on our desktop on the Git folder and not the SharePoint folder. So overall, this is what's going to happen. But in the meantime, let me see if I can show you a project that already has Git enabled. Okay, this one does not have Git enabled as well. I'm just going to let the cloning be done. And in the meantime, what we will do is we will come out here, and we will actually show this showing up inside Git. Now, the reason why this is taking a little bit more time is because we are in a webinar, And at the same time, we also have this, I also have this sitting on a different location, and this one has a bit more content. So if I open up my contents panel in here, you'll notice that I actually have a little bit more, a set of files in here already available as a part of my project. So this is what I have. First topic, new topic, test, not too much. But if I were to actually open up one of these files, you'll notice that I have actually a lot more files in here. So this is one reason why we are seeing a lot more, a little bit more time showing up. But let's actually come back out to my desktop and to Git. We did create this one right here. That's strange. That should not be happening. But overall, that's what you do with Git. I think I need to be connected to my VPN for this to work. Okay, but the process is the same. You would just save your files, and once your files are saved, you would just come out here and perform the check-in, check-out. All of those steps will basically be the same, except that in Git, you would use terms like push, pull. So you will see those menu options showing up right there with push and pull instead of commit or check-in that you saw with SharePoint. Now, finally, let's say if you want to actually have collaborative review, that's collaboration from the authoring side, right? So if you want to have collaborative review from for your reviewers, what you can do is you can always come up here to review and just say, okay, we want to create a review workflow. So let's call this review. And then I can click on done. So once I have this, I can actually just select whatever topics I want to send out for review. So you'll notice that when I'm working on these files, there are actually a couple of filter options for me. One is the authoring filter option in here. So for example, if I'm Stefan, I would just want to send whatever files that I have been working on out for review. So you can absolutely use this nice filter options in here. And this is great for collaboration as well, right? Especially when we're all working on the same files. I can just say, I'm Stefan, and I want to send my first topic off for review. That can absolutely happen. Or what I can also do is, I can very easily just, ignore this and just select whatever I want to send for review. So all of this can absolutely happen. And then all that I really need to do is hit on this share option right here. So we have our title, which is good. I can create a link right here. And then once I have that, I can very easily just come out here. And the process that's really happening right here is it's connecting to Adobe Cloud and actually saving all of these topics that you have just selected on Adobe Cloud so that your reviewers can actually start reviewing it. So this is actually coming in, and I have my update showing up right here. So my review is actually going to be available right here in this last update. So I have this unique URL that has been created for me, and I can actually go out there and start adding my review comments. So that's something that will happen. And inside my RoboHelp project, I also have my review happening right here. So there's this review webinar showing up. So what I will also do is, if we, for example, this one has SharePoint already connected on this one, right? So if I want to use a file like this and actually share, regardless of whatever it is, if I want to share something of this sort available for review, I can absolutely do that as well. The kind of collaboration method that you use does not really matter, so I can very easily just say, I want to share both of these files for review, and then just create a link. The process is the same regardless of what collaboration method that you use. And then all that you're really doing out here is generating the link one more time. And then once you have that, you will be able to send your files out for review. So these topic statuses that you're seeing right here is actually coming from this location. So if you come out here under your properties, you will also see this topic, statuses right here. You can enter the author name right here, and then there's this status right here. So if you want to, mark this up as you go along while building your content, you can absolutely do that. But once that's done, we have our unique URL showing up right here. You can invite specific sets of people to this review if you want by just hitting on this Add People option right here. Or what you can also do is you can set this to public so that everybody can review it. Like, for example, I can just copy this to clipboard, come back out here, wherever we are, Let me see. And if I were to paste this right here, okay, where is the event chat? Yep. All of you should be able to review this right here. Come out there and review it as well. So there we go. And here's our, here's our review right there. So I'm just going to paste the same URL right here as well, so that it can all be available for everybody. Now, the good thing is that inside RoboHelp, you will see this option called public, and if it's public, it's you can also decide whether you want it to, you want password to be required. But you don't necessarily even have to do that, because this is a unique URL that has been created every single time, and this is a private URL that has been created for you, so that nobody else can access this without actually having the the exact same configuration and the IDs that you have available at the end right here. So all of your reviewers will come on the same platform where we are now. And as a reviewer, my job is to just provide my review comments. Now, there are a couple of things that a reviewer would require. One is that you would need an Adobe ID, which is free to create. And that's primarily because we need to keep track of who has commented what. So if you're setting this to public review or even private review for that matter, if you do not have an Adobe ID, your reviewers will need to create one, which is very easy. And then once they're in there, everybody will just come out here to this location and be able to start, adding comments right there. So let's say, for example, I open up my first topic. I have, this nice topic showing up right here. I have some simple annotation options, my strike through text right here. So I can just use this to strike through things. For example, I can just say, hey, delete this. Oh, I see a lot already. Okay, wow, you people are fast. So I don't even have to tell you guys how to do this, right? But it looks like we have a lot of people very unhappy with this, including Tom and Ken. So yes, as you can see, I see all of you showing up right here. And you can absolutely, we have a unanimous delete this option showing up for changes, which is great. At the same time, if I feel that I want to, talk to one another, if Tom wants to talk to Ken, etc., you guys can reply to one another over here, which is great. And then if I feel that now since this is a public review, I will not be able to tag users one by one. But if this was a private review and I have invited maybe just Stefan and Surbi and Tom as a part of my review right here, what can actually happen is that all of them, I can even, mention them right here so that they get an email notification telling them that I have mentioned them. So you guys are doing a great job right here. So for me as the author, let me come back out to my RoboHelp project right here. I believe it's this one. And actually see what's going on right here. So my first topic, here we go. As an author, all that I really want to care about is this. So my changes are coming in right here. All of you showing up right here. Oh, Sergio is telling me that we're doing a good job. Thank you. And then I can just, for example, if I want to reply to Ken right here, I can just hit reply right here and say, hey, I agree. We will delete it, etc. As the author, I can respond to this. Or as the author, if I feel that, Ken, I don't really agree. I need a second person's opinion. I can even, tag somebody using this add option right here and just say, hey, Tom, why don't you have a look at this? Ken saying this, but I need a second opinion, etc. You can have that nice 360 review happening right there, which is going to be great. So that's absolutely, possible right here. And then I can just respond to all of you right here. If I feel that I have resolved this, this comment already, I can also mark this as resolved so that, I can eventually this can come up as part of my filter. So you can have a lot of filter options right here available. Nice seeing you, Mayan and Rebecca. But really, I have all these reviewers right here, and I can just filter them out based on who they are and what the status is. So I can absolutely have this, I know all of these options right here available for me. And so that's from the author's perspective. This is great. This is me, having this round tripping option right here. And all of this is going to happen live. So if I'm a reviewer, you will also still see the review comments that the reviewer has, that the author has added right there. So I think I responded to Ken right here. So as you can see, there's a date and there's a timestamp in here. There will be a date stamp if it's longer. And you can have this nice 360 collaboration happening right there with all of the reviewers. So this is all you have to do. And once you have all of this, review comments addressed and fixed within RoboHelp, what you can also do is you can always say, oh, you know what? Now that I have all of these comments available for me, this is good. Let me fix all of them. Once it has been fixed, I can very easily just come back out here inside my RoboHelp project and say, you know what? I am done reviewing this. Let's just delete this from my system right here. And if I were to hit delete right here, it will be in archival mode. So it will go sit there on Adobe Assets right there, and you will actually be able to come back at a later point in time for audit purposes, etc. If you need to ever, refer back to a review that has happened a long time ago, you can always go back to the archives sitting out there in Adobe Cloud for you to actually see what happened to a document. And what happened, who provided what comment, etc. right there. So this is a nice collaborative review from a reviewer's perspective. When you combine both of this, the reviewers, the authoring experience, as well as the collaboration from the reviewer's experience, it just combines and brings all of this home. And with RoboHelp, you don't really need anything extra, right? Everything's already pre-configured. For example, with the collaboration, you don't have to do anything. All that you really have to do is just provide some simple details in here. And then for a review, you don't even have to do anything again. As reviewers, you will need to provide your, create an Adobe ID if you have not done that yet. If you have, you're good. And then that's all there is to it. As the author, I will get notifications when you guys post comments. If you are a reviewer and I tag you, you will receive notifications. So all of that is going to happen very seamlessly. And that's why working with RoboHelp is very, very effective and great, especially when it comes from a collaboration and review perspective. Okay, with this, I have come to the end of the demo round. I will stop sharing, the demo slide, project right here and come back out here so that we can actually have and take questions if we have questions. All right, Stefan, do we have any open questions or common questions in there? I see Surupi commenting in there, so that's great. Surupi is amazing.
Right. So I think I answered or try to answer most of the questions. Some might need closer clarification, and I would like to ask you to reach out to us at techcomm@adobe.com if you need more details. In one or two comments, I also wrote that. There's another question from Trevor. Is review only available with Adobe Cloud? And I think someone in the chat had basically the same question, and the answer is yes. So you need Adobe Document Cloud for that. An Adobe ID is needed, right? And there is one question, and maybe my colleague Sobi, who is also here in the room, can have a look at that as well. What type of security is provided with Adobe Cloud for review? I'm not sure about if that is a technology question. I guess so, Rebecca. Is it about the end-to-end encryption, or maybe you can specify that a little bit in more detail, Rebecca? Otherwise, these technologies are used by big enterprises who work with the Adobe solution here, the cloud solution, including a lot of government institutions and military and so on. So it's what I can say is that it's highly trusted by even very strict companies when it comes to security. Oh. Yes, Rebecca. So that also there are also things like two-factor authentications that can be used in a scenario. Things like Okta, for example, Here we have Okta as a system. I guess you know that one. So there are these highest standards of security that can be implemented. And then there is one question from Ken Holland. What about drop-down and expanding text? Will they work with a reduce cycle? That's a good question.
Absolutely, yes. So if it's part of the HTML, it's just an HTML page view that you get on the review side as well, right? So if you have expanding text, then yes, you will be able to expand them and be able to see them.
Okay. I think there are no more questions coming in. Okay, so thanks everyone for joining us today. Thanks, Vortimla, for this, like always, fast-paced walkthrough. Great stuff, as always, from you. Thank you so much. You can reach out to us at techcomm@adobe.com with any question that might come up to your brain after this webinar or when watching the recording, maybe, which we will share maybe in 1 or 2, 3 days. There's also a phone number given. And of course, we are on all these social media channels where you can follow us. And we also have a pretty active Adobe RoboHelp community forum. If you don't know that yet, just Google for Adobe Community Forums and you will immediately find it. There's an active community who is helping each other as well, and our support team is looking into that as well. So that's one thing that you might want to check out for questions as well. And there's a question from Sergio. With Flash being dead, my primary problem right now is to convert those old Flash movies to HTML movies. Is that something RoboHelp 2020 can help with? No, I don't think so. There's anything like that in RoboHelp. But I'm pretty confident that there will be a lot of online conversion systems who can do that for you. Where you just upload the Flash video and then it converts to an HTML movie. Okay, and with that, let's close this session, Vortimla. Yeah, and again, thanks everyone. We're a little bit over the hour, but I think these 3 minutes are fine. And with that, I will leave you all into your rest of your day and maybe evening, like for me, or maybe even night, like for Vortimla. And see you next time.